All right, we are still home back in Mississippi.
Hey, we're Herrins on the Roam. We're a family of 5 who recently sold almost everything that we own to buy a truck and a fifth wheel camper to roam around the U.S. creating memories as a family. We hope that you will like this video and subscribe to our channel so that you can follow along on our journey.
When I say home, I do still mean in the camper because we really did sell our house. And we'll be here probably for like a month. So if you'll recall from our original video, we were going to make basically like a test run. So we went to Louisiana, Breaux Bridge, then over towards Houston, Austin, San Antonio, Dallas, back through North Louisiana, and then here. So that was going to kind of be like our, let's see how it goes, test it out. And honestly, it's been great. It's been much better than I think any of us thought it would be. About what we hoped it would be, but better than we thought. So for this video, what we're gonna do is show the things that were like must-haves. So if you're going to venture out in this world, these are the things you need. So the first thing, and I feel like you're gonna think I'm joking, but I mean it, and that is the hose splitter. For those of you that don't know, you have a water hose that you drink out of, and then one that flushes your black tank, which is where all your wastewater goes, solids and stuff. When you have to dump your black tank, you also flush it so that anything sitting in there doesn't stay in there. So then you have to hook up a hose here and a hose here. And when you don't have a hose splitter, every time you have to do it, you have to unhook the one hose, the water hose, and then hook up the other hose. Water goes everywhere. It's a pain in the butt. You can't have water running to your camper when you do it, so you have to use what's in your fresh tank. And so having a hose splitter, which is a simple purchase, super cheap, eliminates all of that. Fortunately here you can see this site actually has 2 hookups, but usually there's only one. So we would hook up the black tank hose to the other one, and then if we want fresh water, flip this switch. To flush the black tank, flip that switch. So super simple. We just bought this one from Walmart. Really, really nice when you're ever having to dump your tanks to not have to worry about swapping your hoses over and everything.
So while Clint is doing the driving and the towing and the backing and all of those things, I'm the one behind the truck and helping things get hitched and helping to make sure things are lined up and all that kind of stuff. We've got some checklists that help us make sure we don't miss things, but one of the things that has made our life a little bit easier is this lube plate. I know, it's kind of nasty looking. The hitch is covered up right now, so you can't really see, but the plate there is metal. If you don't have anything here, you'll have metal on metal. So in order to combat that, you're supposed to like put grease on it. So we like having it so that we don't have to deal with all the grease. We don't have to put that stuff on there and get nasty and clean it and, have a mess on our hands. So we just have one of these and it makes life easier.
So something else that's critical, and folks that know about tools, you'll have to forgive me, but I am not a big tool guy. Never have been. I've always changed our oil, and they always tell you in the manuals and things how many foot-pounds of pressure to tighten everything to, and I've never understood, right? I was like, I don't know, can you curl, how many pounds, I don't know. Well, we bought a torque wrench that actually does all that for you, and so it even has on there the foot-pounds of pressure, and you just twist it up, lock it, and then when it almost like clicks and makes you stop once you've reached the right amount of torque. So that's been incredible, because for safety purposes, it's all supposed to be, all your tires, the lug nuts on the tires, the lug nuts on the truck, and then on the hitch as well. They all have certain torques that they're supposed to be at. And so having that wrench where you can just tighten it to that, and as soon as it clicks, you've got it, that's been critical. So we check all the lug nuts every time we leave a campsite, just to make sure we don't have anything coming loose on the road. We've had a lot of tire issues. If you've watched this channel, you know that, so we're always diligent. Another thing is this. I don't know how you say that word, but it's an air compressor. And if Sarah didn't edit these videos, you probably would think that I was the spokesperson for that brand because I love it so much. Story on that. So like when you're driving, if your tires aren't aired up all the way, they can overheat, they can pop, you know, all kinds of things. And so when we first bought the camper, we drove all the way up to Arkansas to get the camper, and the tires had low pressure. So the whole time Sarah was worried. So we stopped in at a Home Depot. We had an air compressor, so we plug it in, it fries within seconds. I don't know if it just wasn't capable of airing up the tires. Big trucks like this and camper tires, I mean, they take a lot of air. I think 65 to 75 on the truck and then around 95 on the camper. So it just couldn't handle it. So then we went into the Home Depot we were parked at. We bought 2 more while we were in there. One like handheld, just try to top them off. And then another like big one. They both overheated within seconds. And at the time, we're only trying to go up a couple PSI. Then we go and we buy this big bad boy. And we aired up all 4 of the camper tires and all 4 of the truck tires within 15-20 minutes. It was just unbelievable. So that's why that's one of ours. Every campsite we leave, we check the air in the tires. And you know, with the hot and the cold and temperature changes, a lot of times you do need a couple more PSI in each tire. So just for reference, this is one we bought at Home Depot. It's digital, just goes into power like your normal screwdrivers do. And it's pretty good if you only need to go up like 1 or 2 PSI. But if you have multiple tires that need multiple PSI, not very good. But for quick fixes, it's alright. I don't really know if the package matters, but there it is. So it has no problem airing up our tires. It hooks to your battery. So we actually have 2 batteries. We have one that the camper's hooked up to, and then a spare. It will also hook up to your truck battery if you needed it to. You don't need to plug this in anywhere. It's got this super long hose. Theo loves the noise that it makes. I feel like it's incredibly critical, but I think part of that is because I still am frustrated that we spent hours at Home Depot trying to pump up our tires when this bad boy could have done it in 15-20 minutes. So to stay in the theme of tires, right, we bought this. It's a GUTA TMPS system, so a tire pressure monitoring system. You put little sensors on all your tires, like these. You screw these little sensors on, and then this will read it. So it'll pick up each tire. It'll read what that pressure is in there, and then as you're driving, it will show you, is it going up, is it going down. You can set what PSI you want each tire to be, and then if it gets below that level or above it, it'll start blinking so that you know, hey, either your tires are overheating, or you lost all your tire pressure, or hey, your tire just blew out behind you if you didn't see it. Like I mentioned, we check all our tires before we leave every campsite, so rather than getting out a gauge and checking individual tire pressures, we can just turn this on and it will start reading out what the PSI is in each of our tires, so that we know, do we need to add air, do we not, is everything good? So see, hold on, it will come up, it will come up. See, so it'll tell you tire pressure. So pretty cool. So we just hook it up here in the truck so that as we're riding, we can see exactly where our air pressure is. So one other thing, it has an extender that you can hook up directly to your battery. Because on a truck like ours, you know, if you think about where we have it in the front of the truck all the way to the back tire, sometimes it's out of reach. So you can actually buy that extender, hook it up to your battery. So this will send a signal from the truck to that, and that will reach those and communicate it back. So another cool thing about this little gadget here.
Another thing that we would not have done this without is our surge protector. So one of the many processes that we have in place is when we first arrive, I come over to the pedestal, I make sure that the 50 amp is turned off, then I plug in our surge protector. I wait for the code E0 to come across the screen. I don't know if you can see it right now, but the code E0 is at the top there, and that says normal operating condition. So if it showed any of these other ones, I'd know that there was a problem. And we've not had that. We've only ever had one that had no power at all. But I look for that. I look for the E0 to come up. If it comes up, I turn it back off and I let Clint know, okay, we are good to park here. Because if we didn't have that and we did have one of those things, we could potentially fry like all kinds of electrical stuff in our camper or the entire electrical system. And if there is a surge, it's supposed to like cut off the power so that we don't have those kind of issues. One of the last things, and I think one of the most important things that we've invested in, is called RV Life Pro. It's a subscription that we bought before we even started any of this to start our planning. I'm going to show you guys a lot of the things that it will do. Number one has an RV safe GPS system. We can pull it up on our phone and we can put in our destination and it's going to give us RV safe routes. So Google doesn't do that. It keeps things in mind like low clearances, bridges, underpasses, those kind of things. If we pulled it to something that was 12 feet tall, being 13 feet tall, that wouldn't go over very well. So it's really important to us. Clint said that's one of the things that he was most worried about. That is definitely my biggest anxiety, is just the driving, partly for him, partly for me. All right, so I want to show you a little bit about what RV Life can do. I'm signed in and I've gone to the Trip Wizard, which is the trip planning part of the membership. I went in, I made a copy of our first trip. Our first stop, you'll see, was Cajun Palms in Breaux Bridge. I can click on here. I can click on Park Details. It will show me at the bottom the affiliations that they are Good Sam affiliates, so I can get a discount there with my Good Sam membership. I can click on the RV Life Campgrounds. This is going to have information on every campground, pretty much that you can even think of. I've found so many on here. It'll tell you the rating. It'll tell you all about them. Of course, for us, one of the things that I always do is go down and view the connectivity. Here, we had great T-Mobile service, and it just gives you all the information. I can go through and read about it. Ton of value here for us. I mean, it's important for us to see what sites we may want to stay into, because people will say, you know, what sites that they were in on some of these reviews. If I were planning, I could click add to your trip over here on the right hand side of the screen. Here, let's say that we were going to be at Big Chief right here. Okay. And from there, I wasn't sure where I was going to go next. I'm planning. So I can click center, and this green outline around here is what I have set to my preferences. I believe it's 5 hours. It may even be 4, but it's showing me, okay, driving distances, whatever you have set, that's where it's going to show you. And then if I zoom in here, I can tell it to turn on different filters for different, you know, parks, different, all kinds of stuff. I mean, there's everything. I can do fuel stations. I can do, if I only want to see Thousand Trails or Passport America parks, I can go in here, and once I get zoomed in, they will show up on my map. You can also see those low clearances there. It's showing me, hey, there's a 14-foot low clearance bridge. That's the Trip Wizard. There's also the campground reviews, which I showed you. Honestly, we have not used the maintenance yet. And I know we've told you guys that when we go, we generally try not to plan for fuel stops. We try to make our stops short enough that we don't need to get fuel in between. Obviously, we generally need potty breaks and stuff anyways, but it will show you, like, say from this RV park that we stayed in on the way home. So I'm going to center from there. Okay, and it's showing me where I can travel. I'm going to go to Thousand Trails Park in Alabama. So I want to go there next. So I'm going to do add to trip. It's going to ask me how long I'm going to stay. I'm going to stay for 21 nights, and I want it to add it after my last stop. So add to trip. So it's got my RV safe route there. It's telling me where to go. And then see those little gas things? That's telling me, based on what I have put in for our fuel tank size and everything, these are the spots that you need to go ahead and stop to get fuel. And if I zoom in even further and I turn my filters on for fuel centers, I can go ahead and plan exactly where I want to go. I can go ahead and map it all out. For someone who likes to plan the way that I do, it's amazing because I don't have to think about it. I can go ahead and look at it on Google Maps and see what the stop looks like, and I just have everything planned out, and I can hand Clint the phone and say, this is where we're going. We are affiliates with them. We used the system for 2 months before we did sign up to be affiliates, and we have a code. It's ROAM25, ROAM, lets you get 25% off of your subscription. So if you decide that this is something that you want to try out, you can either click our link in the description, or you can go to their website and you can enter in our code. You get a 25% discount on your first year, and we also get something for recommending you to them. I would absolutely recommend it to anyone, no doubt about it.
We are cleaning out storage doing some small renovations, changing some things in the camper, changing out our bed, doing some decluttering, and then shifting some things to storage that we brought that we didn't need, some things out of storage that we didn't bring that we should have. And so you'll see those in upcoming videos.